Hello YouTube, SentinalhMC here, and welcome to episode 4 of my ReactorCraft Tutorial Series. I know this is the episode that you've all been waiting for. We're going to build our first reactor today, and it's going to be a high temperature gas reactor. And the reason we're building that one is because it's the only one I've built so far, and as far as I know, it can't explode or produce massive amounts of radiation. There's no waste. It doesn't produce any nuclear waste, so it's easier to operate and safer. So, but it does produce significantly less power than a standard fission reactor would. But we'll take a look at it and we'll build it. So there's a couple more machines that we're going to need, things that we're going to need to build in order to create our reactor. The basic thing you need to make is the fuel canister, which is simply a chest with 4 of these cadmium, indium, silver alloy ingots around it. It gives you 1 fuel canister, and you're going to need 2 of these in order to build a fuel core. So 2 fuel canisters plus 2 base panels, 4 steel ingots, and a hopper gives you a fuel core. These are used in the standard fission reactor, but they are also a crafting component for the pebble bed reactor core right here, which is what we're going to use for this reactor. And it's a fuel core with 2 hoppers, 4 steel ingots, and 2 base panels. So that gives you a pebble bed reactor core. And to build the reactor that I'm going to be making in this video, you're going to need 4 of these. Okay, so our pebble bed reactor core is the heart of our reactor, but we're going to need something for the reactor cores to heat up, and that's going to be carbon dioxide heat exchangers. And those are crafted with a steam boiler, which we learned how to make last episode, and 4 base panels. And you're going to need a ton of these things. For every pebble bed reactor core, you're going to need 8 carbon dioxide heat exchangers, because you're going to completely surround the core with heat exchangers. So to make the reactor I'm going to make in this video, you're going to need 32 of these carbon dioxide heat exchangers. A lot of steel. I know. Okay, so we've got all the component blocks for our reactor, but carbon dioxide heat exchangers aren't very good if we have no carbon dioxide. So you're probably wondering, how do I collect carbon dioxide? And the way you do it is with a gas collector. And the gas collector is 3 liquid pipes, 2 steel ingots, and 2 base panels. Really cheap. And the way that you use this thing is you place down a furnace, put a gas collector on top of it, give it a hat, and then you burn stuff. So if I put charcoal in here and some oak wood, you can see that it's very quickly filling up with the carbon dioxide gas. It's only got 1,000 millibuckets of storage, so you need to put a reservoir on this. Let's grab an empty reservoir. I've got some gas duct already. So you can stick gas duct on top, and you can stick reservoirs on the side. And even though this is an open top reservoir, it's still able to store gas. Although I suppose it makes sense that you can store carbon dioxide gas because it's heavier than the air around it, I think, yes. So that's how you collect your carbon dioxide for the reactor we're going to make. You just run furnaces with these gas collectors. I think the best way to do it is probably to use charcoal to cook wood to get more charcoal, because then you can just keep doing it and just set up a wood farm and with some wood cutters, and there you go, infinite carbon dioxide gas. What you're going to need, the amount of carbon dioxide gas you're going to need, is you're going to need enough to totally fill all of these carbon dioxide heat exchangers that you're going to be using. And I like to have a little extra as well, but you don't really need any extra. You need enough to fill all of these heat exchangers, and each one can store, oh, it doesn't tell me how much. I'm pretty sure each one stores 12,000. That sounds, yeah, it sounds good. 12,000. So you're going to need 12,000 times 32 millibuckets of carbon dioxide gas. So I would recommend starting to store this up a while before you start actually building this reactor. Unless you want to build the reactor and then store it up. So there you go. You're going to need carbon dioxide gas collectors. Now, once you've got the carbon dioxide gas in the system, it's a closed system. As far as I know, you don't lose any of the carbon dioxide gas as it runs through the system. It heats up, it cools down, it runs back through. So you just need to collect enough of it to fill your system, okay? And we don't need this stuff anymore. So that's how you get your carbon dioxide gas. And now we have the components we need to build our reactor. Let's take a look really quickly before we go in there to build it, how you set up the actual reactor core. So here we've got a pebble bed reactor core block. Now, one of these on its own is not all that great, but the thing is that they can stack, and they stack on top of each other. And what you want to do with these is you want to form vertical pillars. You don't want to place a bunch of these like around like this. It's not how it's meant to go. It's meant to be stacked up. And then what you do is you just completely surround it with carbon dioxide heat exchangers. Alright, like this. And then you have to surround these with a block. It doesn't matter what block, just a block. I like to use these orange factory blocks. I think they look pretty awesome. And the reason you want to surround these with blocks is because every side of one of these heat exchangers that's open to the air is going to cause it to lose heat. So if you need to completely surround it with blocks so that these heat exchangers aren't losing heat to the air, because you want all the heat to be used for heating up the CO2 you're going to pump into these. Now, to pump CO2 into these things, you run gas ducts through the bottom, and to pump the hot CO2 out, you run gas ducts out the top. And these CO2 heat my phone's going to ring. These CO2 heat exchangers will pass the CO2 between each other. So even though you've got a gigantic block of these things that are going to be several levels high, you don't need to put a gas duct around against each and every one of these, because when you pump it in through the bottom, it will flow up. You see how these are connecting with their textures? It will flow up and it will fill all of them. So this is the layout we're going to use to build our high temperature gas reactor. And you're just going to stack this slice on top of each other to get the size that you want. And the higher that you build it, the more blocks you put on it, the more hot CO2 you're going to be able to generate. And so you're going to be able to run more heat exchangers and get a more constant supply of steam. So we're back here in our turbine room. I don't even need all this lubricant pipe up here. I should have cleaned that up earlier. Oh yeah, I used to have a reservoir on here full of lube, but it's got enough lube anyway for a while. So I've got a similar setup to what we had before, but I've got 2 pressurizers over here running from these condensers. I don't know if I need to, but I have to. And basically all this is the low pressure water flows. Actually there's 3 condensers because there was some steam and it ends up leaking to the ceiling, which is why I added these metal dividers up here, so when the steam does get up there, I can easily clean it up. But you know, the only way to prevent steam from getting out completely would be to completely surround this turbine in blocks, like surround it in glass or something. But I didn't want to do that. So I got my condensers and everything set up the way it was before. I've placed some blocks down here to stop the steam from getting out underneath here. And now we got some important information from Reka. You can vent steam into the air, but don't do it. They're not supposed to do that, and it will cause glitches. I remember the glitch that happened when I was doing that is that the individual sections of the turbine started spazzing out, and they started becoming just an individual piece, and started rotating weirdly and flickering around until I stopped the steam flow, and then it corrected itself. So you get some weird glitches if you vent steam into the air, and I guess that a lot of people have been mentioning glitches to do with ReactorCraft, but that's why, because they've been doing that. So don't do it. So Reka said that you either you recapture the water, which you really don't need to do because you can just keep pumping new water in, or void it. Use condensers to collect the steam into low pressure water and then void it somehow. I guess there are a couple of void blocks and stuff in Monster Mod Pack that'll allow you to void fluids. So either reconstitute it with pressurizers or just void the stuff and just have a couple of pumps running. Those are your options. So all I'm doing here is I'm running the low pressure water pipes into the tops of the pressurizers, and I'm running the liquid pipe with the water out to the back, which is where our reactor room is going to be. Now you're going to need to power these things if you're going to use them however you want. These things take 16 kilonewton meters. 16 kilowatts. So you're going to need like a steam engine to power each one of these. I don't know if you need 2, but whatever. Basically, with the reactors, guys, it's all about building the systems and then scaling them until it's stable. And then on the output here, it doesn't matter. Whatever output you want to use. I'm running it into an induction generator from Electrocraft into a graphene battery, but we haven't talked about Electrocraft, and I'm not going to go into it in this series. We're going to have our own Electrocraft series if I do one. But it's just RotaryCraft. I don't like. I mean, industrial coils are nice, but there's no easy way once you've generated this power, unless it's going straight into what you're using it for. There's no easy way to use it unless you convert it into something like redstone flux. But this turbine would require up to 15 rotational dynamos in order to work, because they have a limit. But this induction generator will allow me to put all the power into this battery. As far as I know, I haven't really used Electrocraft all that much. So we've got our turbine, everything's set up. There's some steam stuck in the turbine. Oh, I broke it. Darn it. I did not want to do that. Now I have to actually break these blocks. And I have to break these blocks. Mistakes already. I know you have tons of faith in me. There we go. Got our turbine back up. Now there's steam bouncing around. I don't like steam bouncing around because it slows me down. I've noticed the bouncing steam. It's not good for my frame rate. But it takes quite a bit of bouncing steam before it messes up the thing up to any real extent. So this is our reactor chamber over here behind the turbine. I've got just a steam line running up here. If I go ahead and oh, darn it, there's some steam stuck in the line. Get out of here. I didn't want that to start running. Come on. Steam line's a bit finicky because its hitbox is a bit larger than the actual thing. Okay, this will stop running in a sec. See, it's winding down. Ugh, excess steam in the steam lines. Okay, so back here is my reactor room. This is where we're going to build it. So what I've done is I've laid out this basic area. The high temperature gas reactor will fit within this bordered area because it's the pebble bed reactor core, the carbon dioxide heat exchangers, which is 3x3, and then the blocks you have to put around it, which makes it a 5x5. So it'll fit in a 5x5 area. Alright, and then I've got these little industrial coils over here set up with bevel gears because these are where I'm going to put my heat exchangers. And now we're just going to build this up. So you can see I've got a reservoir over here where my water is going to have like a buffer here, and then we have liquid pipes to feed in. And all you need to do with this is make sure you have enough water to fill each of the steam boilers. We're going to be running 6 steam boilers, so you're going to need 12,000 times 6 because each one stores 12,000 millibuckets. So let's start building this thing. A thing about the pebble bed reactor core is that what you want to do is, see, it's basically shaped like a funnel. So as the fuel is depleted, the depleted bits will come down to the bottom block. So what you want is whatever you want to take the fuel out with, it needs to be on the, let's put that in place there. Actually, no, it's got to go up again. On the bottom here. And there's a couple ways you can do it. You can't use pneumatic pipes, I find. Actually, unless all of these heat exchangers connect together sideways and not just... I think they only connect vertically. Is that you have to run gas duct around the entire lower bit, which means there's no place to put the power if you're running a pneumatic pipe item pump. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you don't have to completely cover the bottom of each one, but whatever. So I like to use an applied energistics system, but in this video we're just going to build the reactor. We're not going to set that up. I mean, you know, if you want to use whatever you want to put the fuel in or take it out. The simplest way to do it is just to stick a hopper on top and fill it full of fuel. So we've got 4 of our pebble bed reactor cores here, which is what I'm going to be using. I find that's a decent amount, and then we're going to completely surround it with the carbon dioxide heat exchangers. Like I said, you're going to need a lot of carbon dioxide heat exchangers. So we'll just fill this thing up. There we go. So we've completely surrounded our pebble bed reactor cores with carbon dioxide heat exchangers, which is what we wanted to do. Now we are going to take and place gas ducts along the bottom of all of them. And then we'll just run this down and over to the side. It really doesn't matter how you run this stuff. All you need to make sure is that we are getting our that our heat exchangers will connect to this pipe. So let's go ahead and just place down these two heat exchangers so we get an idea for what we're going to be doing here. What we're going to be doing is we're going to have gas duct pretty much running like this, and then we'll connect them together and connect them into here. Just got to make sure that we're not blocking off anything important, which I don't think we are. Okay, so we've got gas. It's going to look a bit messy. You know, you can definitely make these things a bit cleaner. I just don't really care right now. So we've got our gas ducts coming into the side of our heat exchangers. That these will output the cooled down carbon dioxide back into the actual heat exchangers. Now we need to actually fill this with CO2, and I'm going to do that right now. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm just going to place some reservoirs here. You're going to need to pump in until all of these are filled. We can see that they're filling up. It's probably going to need more, so we'll just you know, dump it in by placing these reservoirs. Okay, the amount in the reservoirs will stabilize, and yep, these ones are still filling. And these ones haven't even started filling. So you can see you're going to need quite a lot. Of CO2. Oh, goodness. Come on. Pour it in. This obviously isn't the best way to do it. This is just the lazy way, which is what I tend to do when I do these. Okay, so all of our heat exchangers are full of CO2, which is great because that's what we want. Now let's reattach this because I broke it off. Okay, all that steam bouncing around in there might give me frame rate troubles. Yeah, we're down to like 20 frames per second, which isn't ideal. Okay, so we've got our gas ducts attached to the bottom, and the system is full of CO2. So what we're going to want to do now is we're going to want to connect our heat exchangers up to the the hot CO2 supply, which is going to come out the top of these carbon dioxide heat exchangers. So we'll cover the top of it in gas duct, and then we will run our pipe out like this, and then I guess I'll just run some more out from over here. It doesn't really matter. Just get them connected. It's not going to look pretty. It's just going to be functional. Okay, so what's going to happen here is that once we put fuel in this, these are going to heat up. They're going to heat up the CO2. These pipes are going to fill up, and then they're going to put the hot CO2 into the top of the heat exchangers, which, man, I'm getting terrible frame rate, which are then going to fill up these things. I need to take care of this steam. I'm pretty sure the steam is what's doing it. I'm sorry, guys. I just didn't expect, and this just illustrates what happens when you let steam run amok. So don't let this stuff vent. Yeah, as soon as it's all gone, now my frame rate has come back up a bit. Oop. Whatever. So yeah, be careful with steam. It moves around so much and causes so many block updates that it will tank your frame rate. I still don't know why I'm only getting 15 frames. I should be getting more frames, but I'm not. Okay, I usually get 30. So we got this set up. Now we're just going to cover our carbon dioxide heat exchanger blocks with whatever block you want. Remember, it doesn't matter. You could use concrete from ReactorCraft, although that's mainly for the fission reactor. This thing doesn't produce any neutrons, so you don't need to shield it. You just need to insulate these heat exchangers from the cooling effect of the outside air. Okay, so that's what it's going to look like with the blocks I like. That's why I like to use these orange factory blocks. I think they look really cool once they're up there. Okay, so now what next? The next part is to place down our steam boilers. So we are going to place down our steam boilers, 3 of them on each of these heat exchangers because they have 3 open phases available. This is probably not and I should preface all of this by saying that I'm not an expert on this mod pack, and there's probably, this is not going to be like an ideal reactor by any stretch of the imagination. I imagine I'm making tons of mistakes. I imagine there's a bunch of optimizations that I could be doing to this reactor that I just don't know about, but it functions. And you know, the whole thing about Reika's mods is that you really need to use them yourself and learn them yourself, what you can do with them. I can't just spoon feed everything to you, because you need to understand. This video series is understanding how stuff works together, why it works, and then you need to figure out and build your optimum systems. So we've got our 6 steam boilers, we've got them hooked up to steam lines, which are going into the steam grate under our turbine. Now we need our liquid pipes, which I stupidly got rid of. And we need to place liquid pipe underneath each one of these steam boilers. I mean, I don't know if I can put steam boilers on the corners of these things. I'll try that. I'll try it. I'll see if I can put steam boilers on the corners. Alright, so we'll just run this water line over here and connect it in. It's going to fill all the boilers. We're going to probably run out of water, but that's why I took this magic wand. Give it an infinite water supply until these are all full. And once they're full, I'll just break it off, because it won't make a difference anymore. Alright. So my empty reservoir, we'll break this one and we'll put a new one down that's not infinite. It's not even filling up with anything. Okay. So we'll just go ahead and see if this works. We'll stick some more steam boilers on here. Originally, I just assumed that you had to make sure they contacted a face, but maybe they don't. So anyway, we've got some steam boilers down. It doesn't really matter. We'll figure it out yourselves. And we've got them connected to our heat exchangers. So what we need to do now, aside from turning these on, and I really wish I was getting better frame rates. The frame rate is awful. So if this video is choppy, I'm sorry, but I don't know why the frame rate is so low. Okay. So we've given power to the heat exchangers, and they'll function. Let's go turn on the pressurizers, because we're pretty much ready to start this thing up. So everything is pretty much set. All we need to do now is put fuel into this thing. So what the simplest way to do that is really just to place. Well, you don't even need a hopper. You can just right-click to open it up. But if you place a hopper in here, you can have some extra Trizo fuel set up. Let's get rid of all this stuff. I shouldn't need it anymore. And we will grab ourselves several stacks of TRISO fuel pellets. And then we'll just fill up the hopper. And what we should see... Oh, wait a second. Is it not attached to the... Oh, it's not. Dang. It's not attached to the actual core because of how I placed it. So that's an issue. Well, I'll just fill this up myself. Right-click on the pebble bed reactor core and dump fuel in it. You'll notice that the fuel is leaving because it's filtering down to the bottom reactors, and eventually it'll stop doing that, and then the whole thing will be full of fuel. Alright, so our reactor is filled with fuel. If we go to the bottom and we look at it, we can see that it's all full. So now we play the waiting game, and we wait for this stuff to heat up. How hot is the reactor core? Okay, well, let's cover it. Yeah, cores are heating up. Not very quickly. I swear this was faster when I did it earlier. Let's cover the whole thing. What we're waiting for now is we're just waiting for these heat exchangers to heat up. Once they get hot enough, they will... why are they not... it's heating up. It's just taking a while. Forget what it needs to heat up to before it works. I think the actual... They'll end up heating up to like 600. yeah, it's just going to be a waiting game now. Yeah, these are up to 255. So this is it. Really, the reactor is built. We're going to see if these corner ones get heated up, and we're going to see if that works. But pretty much we're just waiting now. Like I said, we're just waiting for these heat exchangers to heat up. Once they get hot enough, they'll produce hot carbon dioxide gas, which will go out of the pipes on the top and flow into the top of the heat exchangers. They're up to 300. And it looks like they're just going to take a while to heat up. 28% depleted. Fuel pellet. Yep, just a waiting game. As far as I know, there's no way to speed this up. I don't know if you can put lava next to this thing to heat it up faster. I wouldn't do it. Probably wouldn't do anything. So yeah, they're heating up. It's just going to take a while. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop recording, and I'm going to wait until these start producing hot CO2, and then I will resume the recording. So I will see you guys momentarily. Alright, we're back. So the carbon dioxide heat exchanger is heated up to 780 C, and the hot CO2 came out the lines and into the heat exchangers. So we've got gas ducts full of hot CO2, and whenever the amount in the heat exchangers hits 100, it filters over. So the question now is, okay, these corner ones do heat up. The question now is how many of these you can actually reliably heat with the heat exchanger. Once these hit, I think 100, they'll start producing steam. Alright, looks like the heat exchanger is heating them. We're not getting any steam yet. Maybe this is just too many steam boilers. Alright. Oh, no, there we go. Turbine's running. Now, I don't know if you have to cover up steam boilers with blocks to help them heat up, but I'm going to do it anyway. And like I said, I doubt that much of this setup is ideal. This is pretty much a hack job as far as I'm concerned. I'm not happy with how it's all laid out. I'm not happy with how it looks. And I don't know. But as you can see, steam is coming out of the steam grate, and it is powering our turbine. It's not constant though, the steam that's coming out of this thing right now, so it's not going to produce optimal power. What you want ideally is for that steam grate to just not have any lull in it. You just want a constant flow. Like you see, there's a bit of a break. That's a big gap. Why is there such a big gap? Why is our steam stopped? What's going on? Is it started up again? Nope, the steam stopped. What's going on? Trial and error, tweaking. And that's what these reactors are all about. Let me grab an angular transducer, because what you can do with an angular transducer is, oh, come on, don't throw it away, is you can right click it on these pipes to see how much hot CO2 is in them. Plenty of hot CO2 in these pipes. Let's see, that's not hot enough, and that's not hot enough. Why aren't these steam boilers hot anymore? Like I said before, I might be running too many boilers. Why is it full up? Why are these heat exchangers not exchanging heat? Come on, heat exchanger. Why is it not running? I'm powering it. You see this, right? You see this, right? The power's going in, but it's not doing anything. I had this happen once before. I had to turn it off and turn it back on, and it worked. Look at this. It's full up, but it's not doing anything. What is going on with these heat exchangers? Yeah, they're not working. $2,000 of hot carbon dioxide gas. Why isn't it running? I don't know. I don't know what this heat exchanger is doing. It's just not running. I'm giving it power and it's not working. This is what it needs. Whoops, put the wrong thing there anyway. Doesn't say insufficient power. Okay, this shouldn't be happening. This thing should be working. There is no reason for these heat exchangers to not be working. Come on, I'm powering you. This is actually frustrating. These heat exchangers should be working, but they're not. It's just glitched. Now it's running. Make sure I got enough CO2 left in the system. We go down lube. So for those of you who are wondering how quickly these turbines use the lubricant, that's how quickly they use the lubricant. Choose through it. Alright, now we're working again. Well, I don't know what was up with those heat exchangers, but they just decided they wanted to quit working. Needed to break him and replace him. That was very strange. Maybe Reka can let us know what the problem was. So this thing is just about up to max speed. There it is. It's top speed, 65 kiloradians. And now this thing appears to be outputting at a quite constant rate. All right, so we're getting basically maximum power out of this. About 13,000 newton meters of torque at 65,000 radians. Going into this graphene battery from ElectroCraft. That's, you know, between 800 and... Oh, why is it dropping off again? Don't give me this. It's done the same thing again. Do I have to give these things... Do they want more power? I'll give you more power. Why are they no longer working? Alright, well, as you can see, I am being thwarted by heat exchangers that don't want to do their job. I have no idea why they don't want to do their job. Maybe Reka will let us know what's going on. But they just, I can't see any conceivable reason for these heat exchangers to not be working. They work for a while, and then they quit. This was not doing this earlier. I had a system set up earlier. It wasn't doing this. It was working perfectly. But now it isn't. Oh wait, there it goes. No, but now it's quit again. What is happening? They're not exchanging the CO2, they're just letting it sit there. See, these numbers aren't moving. These numbers should be moving. Oh wait, maybe it is exchanging. I mean, there's tons of CO2 in here. But now there's no steam. There should be steam. Well, there's steam in there. I don't know what's going on. Reactors. They're annoying. There's steam in here. Why is no steam getting into the steam grate? I don't know. I'll fiddle with it. But that's it. This is the basic setup. Like I said, pebble bed reactor cores surrounded by CO2 heat exchangers. Stack it up like a tower. Run some gas ducts into some heat exchangers. Say that, quit again. Gas ducts into some heat exchangers. Surround the heat exchangers with some steam boilers. Pipe water into the steam boilers. Make sure you've got this gas outlet from the side of the heat exchanger going back into the reactor, and then just hook it up to the turbine. Alright, well, I don't know what's going on with this thing. But it shouldn't be doing this. Because as soon as I break this and replace it, now the system starts working again. So I don't know what's going on. It wasn't doing this earlier. I don't know why it's doing it now. But you can see, you can produce quite a bit of power with these. But like you can see, you've got to build them up pretty high. There you go. If I wasn't in an enclosed space, I could just keep building that taller if I wanted to. Alright, well, I guess that's pretty much it for this video. I wish it had been working flawlessly, but such is the way of my life. Stuff works great until I turn the camera on, and then it all goes to crap. But it's working now, and hopefully we'll find out why it wasn't, why it's messing up, and why it doesn't appear to be working properly. But anyway, you can see you can get quite a bit of power out of these, almost a gigawatt. I don't actually know if I could run more. I'm assuming I couldn't run more than one turbine off of this setup because it's barely running one turbine as it is. But there you go. So yeah, that's it. That's the high temperature gas reactor. Remember, it produces less power than the fission reactor, but you're not going to blow yourself up and irradiate your base. Safer and easier to run, so it's a good. I think it's a good beginning one. It's going to cost you a lot of setup. It's going to cost you a lot of resources to build a reactor, but such is the way. And see there, the steam cut out again for no reason. All right, well, yeah. Hopefully we'll find out why it's not wanting to work for us. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the episode. Anyway, I hope that even with the issues I'm having here, you still now understand how to build one of these things. Ask me questions in the comments, and I'll try and help you out. And but you know, not specifics. I mean, I'm not going to tell you exactly how big to make it or all these things to get how much power out of it. Just, you know how to build it now, so just build it and just add slices and tweak the setup until you get the desired result. That's what this mod is all about. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed it. I'm SentinalH, and I'm signing out.